Welcome to Color Me Home, a podcast about paint
and decorating
and home improvement
and creative projects
and pretty much whatever else comes up in the conversation. I'm Dan.
And I'm Betsy. Thanks for tuning in. On today's episode, we want to discuss some tips for those of you who might be thinking about putting your home on the market. See, even though homes are selling faster than they have in recent years, there are still a few things that you can do to make sure your home sells quickly and for as much money as humanly possible.
And we want to point out right away that even though we're specifically talking about ideas that you might use if you're going to list your home, these are all projects and concepts that could apply to anyone, whether you'd like to sell or stay.
Right. No matter what your situation, there's something here for everyone. So let's get started.
And let's start with first impressions. Now, we all know the importance, right, of making a great first impression. You only get one chance to make a great first impression, right?
Somehow, I have a hunch you are well-knowledged in this area.
I've made a lot of bad first impressions, but one that particularly stands out is this girl that, followed is the wrong word. Watched is the wrong word. I knew from high school.
Wow.
Let's just say it was
You sound really creepy.
It was all in a very much non-stalking kind of way. It was
I certainly hope so.
Very, very nice. But my voice broke again.
The way it sounded.
But anyway, it was completely innocent. It's just high school. So, I'm very interested in trying to work up the nerve.
Right.
Finally ask her out, and she actually will go. So we go out on the first date, and I end up throwing up at Burger King's. It was the only date ever that I had with her.
Was that nerves or?
No, I don't know what it was. Maybe. Let's just say it was. Is that more manly? If I say it was nerves, is that more manly?
No.
Okay.
That's less manly.
Okay, it wasn't nerves.
Food poisoning.
It was food poisoning. It was from the food I had to eat after saving the children that were in the middle of the and they gave me, because they wanted to repay the kindness. They gave me this food they had and food poisoning. Oh. And then I threw up, projectile.
Ew.
Yeah.
Please let that be the end of your conversation.
That's the end. Anyway, so first impressions are important.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. Now, they have a very powerful effect. And this is definitely true, especially when it comes to our homes, especially when you're trying to sell. Make a first impression that is wonderful, and people will come back. Make a bad first impression, and potential buyers are probably going to move on to the next house.
I'm surprised that girl even rode home with me in the car. So
yeah, that is a little surprising. I hope you had a Tic Tac afterwards.
I thought about that later. In fact, I thought about that a lot later. I don't remember what I did. I blocked it all out.
Ew.
First impressions are important. And the place to start is outside.
Of course.
Because really, the house could be immaculate inside. Could be amazing inside. But if the outside looks bad or not appealing, you're definitely cutting down on the number of people that are going to be taking a second look. Yeah, because
they're going to drive by without even coming inside. Right, and you're going to look and say, that's not for me. Right.
So let's just start with your landscaping.
Right.
Make sure that looks good. We just put bark in. Bark? Mulch? Mulch.
Yes.
Anyway, we just did that.
Right.
And a couple $100, but what a difference it made. Tremendous difference for just a couple $100. That's a very easy project. It took a fair amount of work, but you just bring in enough kids. I had 5 kids working, and it actually went pretty fast.
So get all the neighborhood kids. Hey, I'll pay you $5 to come lay this.
That would be awesome if they'd be willing to. But
right.
So you start there. Then, mow the lawn, edge the yard. All of those things are important.
The normal things that you have to do anyway. Make sure that they're done when you want to get the house on the market. Trim your trees and bushes. There's nothing worse than trying to walk up a sidewalk where there are limbs over it and you can't get through, or you're ducking and dodging and things like that. I
rarely duck for anything. I can walk right under it.
That is true.
But yes, I know what you're saying. When we did all this work on Saturday, we pulled out a bunch of bushes on one side of the house because they were just scraggly and it just had that look that it wasn't well maintained. So we cleaned that all up, and big difference in just minutes.
And it's amazing how things change over the winter and into spring once everything leaves out, because
the snow goes away. That's one big change.
Yes. Sometimes. Very recently, apparently for us. No, I have a bush right next to my porch, and in the wintertime, you don't notice how the limbs kind of have creeped over the edge of the porch. But now that they're all leafed out, it's incredible. I'm standing back going, man, that thing needs to be cut back. So that's on the fall to-do list now. Okay. So just take notice of little things like that, earlier when we had snow, you may not have noticed, but now that everything's leafed out, it's very evident.
Right. Definitely take some time to cut that stuff back. Check out your front door, your garage doors.
Yep.
That's another very, very small,
Check the paint.
quick project.
Fading.
Right. New coat of paint. Very easy to do. Minimal amount of time. Minimal expense.
Yes.
Huge payoff.
Right. Power wash your siding. Get it all cleaned up. Get rid of the dirt and potential cobwebs that may already be there. Usually it's later in the summer that you start to see lots of cobwebs, but get it all cleaned up. Just make it look nice and sparkly because that's what people are going to look for. No one wants to see dirty siding, especially if you have mildew or things like that tend to get on siding. Make sure all of that's cleaned up.
Wash your windows.
Yes.
After the power washing. Dad, I don't know how many times during the time we grew up, I'm surprised Dad's still alive, actually, because Mom would go and wash all the windows, and then Dad would power wash the house.
And so then there are little water spots
and then
everywhere.
He'd come inside all proud of himself. Oh, he power washed the house. And Mom would just seethe because she's watching him from inside, just spraying the windows and moving right on.
Yep.
Oh, he has no concept.
Yeah.
So wash the windows after the power washing.
Yep.
Make your front porch beautiful, inviting. We talked about a lot of these on a previous episode.
Yeah.
Which was full of amazingly intelligent things. I mean, you said a couple of smart things.
I said a lot of smart things.
I carried the show on that one, I'm pretty sure.
Except I think you kept detouring from what we were supposed to be talking about.
It's hard to believe that that's possible. If you could just let us stay on topic, Betsy, I'd appreciate that. So anyway, those are episodes to check out. They were on Curb Appeal.
Yep, absolutely. Now, as long as you have that power washer out and you're doing your siding.
Spraying your windows.
Yeah, spraying your windows down. Why not power wash the driveway and the sidewalk? Get some of that dirt, oil, things like that off. There are degreasers out there for, if you have a big oil spot on your driveway. We do have some degreasers that will help get rid of that so that everything looks really nice. The point is you really want it to be as clean as possible and, something that people say, wow, that looks really nice.
Right. Something, again, a first impression that draws them in.
Right.
One thing, just very quickly along that line, is it Briggs & Stratton that makes that disc that you put on the end of a power washer?
Yeah.
We'll put that in the show notes, but it's a disc. What is it, a foot and a half? Foot and a half. Someday I'll be a real boy.
Okay, Pinocchio.
But it's a foot and a half. I'll try to talk in my man voice.
Ooh.
And it snaps right on where the tip would be for the power washer.
Yep.
It's a bristled disc that will contain all the overspray.
Right.
It is really cool. I use that on my deck, and I use that to do the cement, and it prevents all this overspray from spraying back onto your feet, and it contains it all.
Yeah.
Very good. We'll put that in the show notes. I know we bought one. We don't rent them out, right?
I don't think so.
No, we don't.
Not that I'm aware
We had
of.
talked about it, but we never got to that point. But they're 60 some bucks.
Right.
Definitely worth it.
Oh, yeah. Well, and that also help, sometimes power washers, when you're power washing concrete and things like that, tends to hit the grass and get all that dirt and stuff everywhere.
It contains.
Right. So that way you don't have that problem.
It's very cool. Definitely worth it.
Yes.
Now, you wanted to talk about this because you hate these things.
Yes. These are some... We all have our pet peeves. I know Dan has one coming up.
I have many pet peeves. I have a list. I keep it in my wallet.
Ooh, of course. Not surprising to me.
I like to add to it from time to time.
Yeah. So one of my pet peeves is going up to a house. You're looking to see, how nice the grass is, how nice the yard is.
That you might buy. You don't randomly just walk up to
No,
lady.
That would be creepy. And then I'd be creepy like you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right.
So you're looking at the grass, oh, this is a nice lawn. And all of a sudden you see all those little telltale ant holes for a huge ant hill. And then, who wants to buy a house that has a pest problem? Or beehives, when you're power washing, get down any little beehives that maybe,
We're talking little ones. We're not saying go after a great big wasp hornet nest with a power washer.
You probably better have that one removed.
Wage war.
But usually the big ones are in trees. Usually it's just little ones, little tiny things. But make sure they're gone because, you don't want the people who are looking at your home to get stung as they're walking up. And
That's a bad first impression.
It's a
when
very
you
bad
swell
first
up
impression.
and you got to call the ambulance to come in.
That's very bad.
Use one of those. What are those called? An EpiPen.
EpiPen. Yeah. That would be bad.
My wife has an aunt who has an EpiPen, and she did something. I think it was a bee sting.
Yeah.
And that was the first time they were going to use it. So her and her husband, they go running to get the EpiPen, and they get it, and she sits down, and he hits her with it and hits her with it and never took the cap off. So she just pounded her on the leg, all these bruises and stuff. She took it out of his hands and used it the right way. But
stabbed it in
bad
her leg.
first impression if you're looking at a home.
Yeah.
The whole EpiPen experience. You don't want that for your prospective buyers.
And you don't want people to think that you may have a pest problem,
or any problem.
Right, but you don't want
psychological or otherwise.
They may or may not meet you though. In
Bad
your
first
case,
impression.
it may be good that they don't meet you.
Yeah, I stay in a room waiting for them to go away. That's safest.
Yeah, probably.
So clean up the pests and all of those problems. My personal pet peeve is just very quick and easy, but the blinds that are crooked or are bent.
Yeah.
You see that from the road,
Looks
and
so
it
bad from
it
the
conveys
outside.
the idea that what's inside must be as poorly maintained as what's outside.
Right.
And that's why, to me, the blinds are huge, because it actually is part of the inside of the house.
Right.
And if that doesn't look good,
Yep.
what's the rest look like?
Right.
So fix them, or
Fix them or take them down.
That would be good.
If you can, take them down. Yeah, or put them up.
and then stay out of that room at night, because everybody's. Oh, you would put them back up again, is what you're saying.
Yes.
For
Or put
evening
up curtains.
hours. That would be good.
Temporary curtains. Yeah.
So start outside.
Right.
That's pretty basic.
Yes. Now, there are lots of projects that you could tackle. The big takeaway from this first point is very simple. First impressions matter immensely. Bad first impressions aren't always deal breakers, although in Dan's case, they are.
Sometimes they're sure deal breakers.
But they can be overcome. But it's not easy. And often, it can result in price concessions. So let's get these things taken care of.
All right. We started outside. Now let's move inside for this next tip. Organize, declutter, and depersonalize.
Right.
What are we talking about here?
Now, we're talking about what buyers are looking for when they walk into your home. And for, I would say most buyers probably, it's storage space. Who wants to buy a house and then have to rent a storage unit for all of your stuff?
I don't.
No.
And I think I'm like most people.
Right.
In some ways.
Maybe. That's debatable.
In some ways, I'm like most people.
Right. So let's start in the obvious places. Bedrooms. Plenty of closet space. Good, if you can get those little organizer things that go in them, that always helps, makes it look better, helps you organize it before people walk through so that your stuff looks all neat and tidy and looks like one of those, magazine pictures or something like that.
Right. So you want to get your closets cleaned out.
Right.
And one thing you could do, especially since you're getting ready to move, pull out a lot of the clothes. My closet's full of winter things that I'm hopefully never going to wear again until this coming fall and winter. Those things, if I were selling right now, those things could be boxed up and moved out. Because right now it's full, and you pull something down and three things fall with it.
Yep.
You don't want that when people are going through your house, because they're going to open things up. And of course you do. You go through closets. You look at
because
things
you want
like
to
this.
see how big the closet is.
You have to see that.
Right.
So make sure that you pull out some of those clothes, reduce what's in there, so that the idea that you convey is that there's a lot of space.
Right.
That's the whole point here. In the kitchen, organize your dishes, your pots, your pans.
Yep.
We open a cupboard because the kids help with dishes. We don't have a dishwasher. We've just got the 5 kids and us. And
so you have a dishwasher.
We do.
That's
have
what my mom used to say.
multiple
I have a
dishwashers.
dishwasher. In fact, I have 3 of them because she has 3 kids.
Yeah, that's what we do. But they don't put anything away very well. So you open up a drawer.
Right.
And they know it. That's the thing that drives me nuts. Because you'll walk into a room and you'll see them quick slam a drawer shut.
Oh, yeah.
And you'll say, what's going on?
Yeah.
Nothing. And then you open it up and 5
everything
pans slide
comes
back out.
Yep.
You don't want that. So organize all of that stuff. In the bathrooms, the counters a lot of the times, or in the kitchen counters can be collect-alls for things like toasters and all of that. That's fine. But when you're trying to sell the house, trying to stage it, get some of that stuff off the counter. Get the coffee maker off the counter. Get the, what did I just say? What is that appliance that you put toast in? Oh, the toaster. The word is so elusive sometimes. But
hey there, English major.
That was a long time ago. Now, you talked about something with this idea about just getting everything clean and making it look nice.
Yeah, when you go on vacation and, you go to a nice hotel, not a really, dumpy one like I know Dan has
I've
been to
stayed
before.
at a really dumpy one.
I know.
Lots of mold and
Ooh,
stuff.
so gross.
It was very gross.
Creepy and gross.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was disturbing.
Disturbing.
Anyway, So most hotels you go to, they have the little soaps and the shampoos and everything all laid out very nicely on a little tray on the sink. And, maybe they have the towels draped over the edge of the tub. Very spa, zen-like. That's really the way you want this to feel. Take the time to do these little things, clear everything off except for a few key things so that, it feels like a retreat to people. Like they really want to be there because, this is just such a relaxing, nice spot. Think about these things. It'll go a long way.
Another thing that is very important is just getting the furniture out. We've all
Right.
been through places where you've almost got to,
It's a maze.
edge your way through, right? Or you bump a table and 15 little things fall over, and you don't want that. That's all fine if you're living there and staying
Right.
there. Make your house exactly what you want.
Right.
Excellent. When you're trying to sell, minimize, because again, people want to come in and see space. They don't want to see 15 chairs. Yeah, it's a great,
Right.
comfortable room, but man, when you're trying to sell the house, you want to convey the idea of space. Get the coffee
Right.
table out, maybe. Open up the room. Make sure it feels like there's a lot of open space there. Get the trinkets off the
Right.
end tables and things like
Yeah.
that.
I saw a picture, I think it was on Houzz, Houzz. And I think I had looked up, staging of homes. And there was a picture on there of what would appear to be a built-in bookcase or entertainment center of some sort. And they'd completely gotten rid of the TV, if that's what it was meant for. And they had just put one item in each of those spaces. And maybe...
Was it like a really super cool item?
Yeah, it was all nautical themed. So, like, they had a wooden buoy kind of thing in one, and they had a boat in one. But it was very minimal, but made an impact. If you're going to have books, maybe stack up just 3 books, laying on their covers,
Right.
just stacked up, and that's it. Get rid of everything else. Just something to give people ideas as to what these things can be used for.
Definitely. And, don't forget while you're doing all this, the garage, the storage shed, things like that. Those are important things too. I know when we were
Right.
looking for a house a couple years back, all we had was a storage shed. We didn't have a garage at all.
Right.
And so one of the very first things I checked out, that we ended up buying a house with a single stall garage.
Mm-hmm.
Still a step up for us. It was just that was the right
Right.
house. But it was very important to me to make sure that we had enough space for all the different things.
Well, and I've seen just driving around now that it's warm and everyone has their garage doors open, you wouldn't believe the amount of people that park outside.
Because
and
they can't get inside.
Right. And they use their garage as storage. And I'm, looking, because they're out doing yard work. I'm like, oh, they're out mowing their grass. And then you see their garage and you're going, oh my goodness, it's piled to the ceiling with boxes and who knows what. Get all of that stuff out of there. Invest in some sort of organization system for, shovels and things that hook on the wall so that people can see, that there is a place for everything.
Right.
And that when they move in, everything will have a place.
Right. One of the tendencies here is when you live in it, you don't see it.
Right.
It doesn't even register you. Yeah, I'm sure a lot of these people
Right.
don't even clue in that feels messy. That's just what it always is.
Right.
But new people coming in, that's definitely going to catch them
Right.
off guard.
Yep. Exactly.
And while you're doing all of this, while you're decluttering and you're organizing, don't forget to cut down on the you in the house. And I don't mean
Yeah.
specifically you, Betsy, but
Aw,
you in general.
thanks.
All of us
Yes.
should cut down on that. It
Right.
sounds harsh, but remember, first impressions, as we've been saying, are important. And you want people
Right.
to walk in and feel like the home could be theirs. That's the main point.
Right.
You want them to see themselves living there.
Right. So get all of those personal items out, all the photos and things like that. Remove them, box them up, put them in storage or something like that, and replace them with a very generic decor. Again, I'll go back to that one picture that I saw. It was generic. It was all nautical, no pictures of family. The only painting that they had was of a sailboat hanging on the wall. So, no family photos, nothing like that.
Now, are you saying none at all or definitely minimized?
I would say none at all, because you really want to be able to have people think that they can live there.
What if we would take pictures of them as they walk up, print them, and put pictures of them on the wall? Would that be awesome?
Wow, you are on a really creepy roll today.
Okay, if you want to see that as creepy, I suppose. But I
That
think...
is kind of creepy.
You don't think that'd sell it? If I walked in and my picture was on the fridge?
I would be creeped out.
Okay, for those of you, maybe that's... I'll leave that up to personal preference. I'm just
Okay.
throwing that idea out there. I'll probably put it in the show notes because I think it's a good idea.
Of course you do. Okay, now let's keep moving on.
Sorry to distract, yeah.
From the cleaning and the organizing.
Idea.
Sure. To actual repairs. Now, sometimes the temptation when you're selling your home is to work really hard to accomplish some major upgrades, like, replacing kitchen cabinets or,
big
gutting
time
the
projects.
kitchen. Yeah, it can be so expensive.
And the important thing to understand is that you typically don't get a full return on your investment with those projects.
Yep.
Now, that means it's often not worth the work and the expense that you put in. Now, on the other hand, when it comes to the small repairs, the little stuff, the opposite's true.
Right.
The small amount that you typically spend on these repairs is returned many times over. So if you've got a leaky faucet, something little like that, make sure that's fixed. Make sure you get that repaired.
Yep.
I've done some plumbing stuff, and it normally goes really well the second time every project is tackled. So really, those are pretty easy things to do.
Right.
So make sure you tackle that. Broken windows.
Oh, yeah. Or ripped screens. And make sure all of your windows open. If you have an older home and they have, the weighted window things, or maybe they've been painted closed, make sure that everything, works properly, opens and things like that. Because
that can be a process to get a window, but it's doable. I mean, I completely agree with you. You're giving me the look like you disagree.
That's what home buyers are going to want. You never
Definitely,
know.
I agree. I did that to our old house, and I told you that story that I got one all set, sanded it all down, it opened. It was exactly like you said, painted shut.
Yep.
And I start working on the other one, and my neighbor guy comes walking over, and he's talking to me as I'm up on this ladder, trying to focus. I've got my little crowbar out.
Yep.
And finally, I tried to move something, and I went to set my crowbar down, and I forgot that the window was closed, and I threw it right through the new window that I just put in. I remember seeing it land on the countertop, bounce across the floor, glass everywhere. The guy said, "Well, I gotta go," and he took off, and I was left with my mess.
Did he say it in that goofy kind of voice, too?
Everybody talks to me in a goofy kind of voice. You should hear your voice when I tell my wife stories about what Betsy said at work. It's not a flattering voice.
I would love to hear it sometime.
It's great.
I'm sure I'll laugh.
So fix all of those things.
Right.
Slow drains. That's another
Yeah.
Oh, that's really bad.
That's bad.
That's bad. Fix that for people, please.
Right.
Please. Broken blinds, like we talked about.
Right.
Here's one that I think is good. Water stains from previous leaks.
Yeah.
Leaks.
Wow.
Maybe if I have a lozenge. You think?
I don't think
lozenge?
you're ever going to grow up.
It's never going to happen.
It's never going to happen for you.
But a water leak, especially, and exclusively and only if this is fixed.
Yeah.
Never cover this up if it's not fixed. Man, that's not cool. Don't be that
That's
dude.
not, and there's a good chance that a home inspector will find that, because you never know
trouble.
what, when he's crawling around up in the ceilings, what he's going to find. So if you cover it up, a potential home buyer is not going to be happy that you covered it up. The home inspector found it.
Well, it's completely dishonest, and it makes you look dishonest, which is good because you are dishonest if you're covering.
Exactly.
But if it's fixed,
right?
We have this in our house, in the house we bought. It was a leak that happened years ago. They got it all fixed. I didn't notice it, but the home inspector noticed the water spot on the ceiling.
Yeah.
We still bought the house, of course, all of those things.
Right.
We were convinced after a lot of digging that it was an old problem.
Yeah.
But man, did it completely change. I wouldn't say completely change, but it really affected my opinion.
Right.
So don't even open up that can if you can help it. If you've got a spot like that, we've got primers that cover the water stain, will prevent it from bleeding through, and then ceiling paint. Now, it's a lot of work, or it can be, or perceived a lot of work. People don't want to paint a ceiling typically, but it's not that bad, and it's definitely worth the work that you'll put in for what you're going to get out of it.
Yep, exactly.
Now, all right, let's wrap this up with the age-old question that we get in the store. What colors are best when I'm selling the home? There are actually a couple of different lines of reasoning that arise. One says be bold, put a lot of color in, really, really go crazy. That's what people are looking for. One group of people will take that line of thought. The other line is the opposite. Tone things down, go with neutrals.
Yes.
Betsy, what do you think?
I think if you've already got lots of color in your house, it's best to tone down at least a good portion of what you've got. I'm not saying take out every color. And, red is almost like a neutral to many people now. If you have one red wall, it's okay. Leave it. That's fine. But if you have blue and yellow and green and every room is a different color, that's too much for people. It's too overwhelming for their senses. So tone it down, paint those a neutral color. Like I said, if you just have a couple red walls, leave them. If you already have neutral walls, leave them. don't paint the extra colors in there. I think that's the best thing to do because neutrals let people imagine, they can paint whatever color they want over top of your neutrals. But as soon as you tell someone they have to paint over blue or yellow or something like that, they think it's this huge task and this is never going to work and I'm going to spend days and weeks doing it.
You don't want people going through the house, looking at it, thinking, okay, got to repaint that.
Right.
That's not going to work with this.
Right.
If the color's there, okay, that's one thing. If you don't have to repaint,
right.
Okay, then you got to, like you're saying, let's minimize then. If you've got colors all over the place, let's pick one or two of those rooms and let that stand.
Right.
That can look good. You were talking about a situation with one of the guys here where he was selling a house and a buyer had narrowed it down to his house, which was all neutral, and this other house that had different colors on the walls.
Right.
They ended up going with the other house because of the colors. That can happen.
Right.
But
it's not as likely to happen.
Right. You're definitely much safer to lean towards some neutral. So if you're starting with, okay, I've got a lot of repainting to do, we definitely would recommend not bringing in the colors. First off, colors don't cover as well, so it's just harder to get that job done. And normally when you're trying to sell, you're just trying to get these things looking nice, not spend days and days or multiple coats. So neutrals are going to cover better anyway.
Right.
And they're going to show better.
Yep.
Now, that doesn't mean it's got to be boring, though.
Right.
You can definitely, first off, like you said, I mean, you mentioned that red is a kind of like a neutral.
Yeah, it's
and
becoming more like a neutral. More people have it. It's more acceptable to have a dark red color somewhere in your home.
Right. But neutrals, a lot of us think of that as, okay, well, tan, but it doesn't have to be that.
No.
Grays
are huge
all kinds of
now.
different ways you can go that still keep it a nice toned down setting.
Right.
And then bring in the color or any kind of color pop that you want to bring in with accessories, with decor, things like that. Not too much, like we talked about, minimize.
Accessories. Yep.
But that's a good place to bring in some of the color.
Right.
And when people see that, they realize right away, they've got a blank canvas to work on.
Right.
I can, once these things are out, I'll bring my stuff in. It's going to work with these walls, no problem. And I can do whatever I want. If I want to add color, that's great. I can paint a wall, I can do this, I can do that. But the thing about neutral is that it's move-in ready.
Yep.
Like we said in the very beginning, with colors, you may get by. It may work. People might be okay with it. But neutrals are always okay.
Yes.
You may want to change it, but definitely I don't have to. I'm not required. If I had red in the living room that we bought, I would either have to buy all new furniture, which I wasn't going to do, or repaint the wall. It just wouldn't work. Neutral, which is what was in the wall, on the wall. Who knows what's in the wall? We hear scratching from time to time, but I think that's taken care of.
Right.
Anyway, you can move right in. You're ready to go.
Well, and another thing is, if you have a couple red walls or whatever color you choose to leave in there, then something to think about is perhaps get some extra paint of whatever the other 3 walls are painted and leave that for the new homeowner and let them know, hey, here's the paint to repaint that wall if you don't like it. Same sheen, same color, because that's part of where people get hung up. They look and go, how am I going
to match this?
I have to match this, or I have to repaint the entire room because I don't like one wall. So if you leave them the stuff, it's maybe a 2-hour job to repaint just the one wall while you're moving stuff into another room. So it's less intimidating if, you give them the tools.
Them with the paint. Right. Exactly. Yep. And we've normally got it sitting around anyway. So
make sure it's good. Because that's the problem. If you do the legwork for people, who wants...
So you're saying get them a gallon.
I would say get them quart, 2 quarts, whatever it would take.
You are so free with other people's money, Betsy.
Well...
Just spend, folks.
I'm guessing,
In fact,
your
this
return...
is for RepcoLite, though, so you're right. Spend away.
Well, I'm guessing your return on investment when someone buys your house and it doesn't sit on the market for another 2 months because you have red walls that no one wants to, try to figure out the paint for.
You're right.
I'm guessing.
You're right.
Wait, can you say that one more time?
I say it all the time. There's probably said at least 3 times in every episode.
Sure.
Yeah, just to shut you up. And so we can move on. Yes. But no, that's a great point because the gallon's sitting around. That is, you're right. Because when I think about it, I did have shelves full of paint. And the man had
but they
labeled
might be
it.
dried out.
They were
rotting.
Well, they
Because
weren't.
paint smells terrible when it
does.
goes
It's
bad.
profoundly bad smell. You
Like
don't
sour
want-
milk.
Yes.
Be careful opening the can.
It's very bad, very bad. But ours had all rusty edges and stuff. The paint was fine, but the minute
Yeah.
I opened it up, rust flakes fell
Yep.
in.
Right.
That is a really cool idea, especially if you've only got a couple rooms with colors on the wall anyway.
Right. Just do them the favor. It'll go a long way for someone who's looking at buying your house. It's
Exactly.
it's kind of a goodwill gesture, basically.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. All right. Now, that's all we have time for today. Selling your home can be a stressful experience. Very stressful at times. Buyers are always looking for a deal, and there are typically many, many other homes to choose from. Still, by taking a little bit of time and working hard to make sure that your home makes a great first impression, you can give yourself a step up on all the other competition that's out there.
And even if you're not selling your home, all of these projects will help you create a place that feels more comfortable, that provides you with a greater sense of pride and satisfaction. Basically, you'll feel happier in your home. And that's what
Right.
we all want, right?
Yep.
We all want to feel happier than we are. So
Yes.
clean, organize, declutter, paint those walls, and take a few summer weekends. It's nice outside. It's beautiful out this weekend. Or no, it's supposed to rain.
Well,
Let's not
it's
say
gone
that.
back and forth.
Okay, we're going to
We're
just
really
go
not
with
sure.
beautiful.
Right.
Take a few summer weekends and get that exterior looking great. Now,
Right.
whether you're listing your house or hanging around for a long time, these are all projects that will pay off in one way or another.
Okay, if you have any questions or suggestions for topics that Dan and I can discuss on air, please drop us a note.
Please.
Please. Our email address is colormehome@repcolite.com. We love getting emails, so send them our
From
way.
real people. I'm really sick of junk emails, but real emails would be awesome.
Yes,
Makes
exactly.
me feel more important.
Right.
And that's very important to
And
me.
yeah, and it helps us know we're not just talking to ourselves over here.
Yes.
So please send us a note, a comment, a suggestion, anything you've got.
Just type hello and hit send. That's awesome.
Are we still going to give them a free gallon of Benjamin Moore RepcoLite
Probably
paint
not
for
for
that?
hello.
Okay. Well, it's got to be something we use in a podcast. So send us something. And just for asking a question, you'll get a free gallon of paint. And getting stuff for free couldn't be easier than that.
The email address, once again, is colormehome@repcolite.com. And also, don't forget to check out our Pinterest page for
Yay!
this episode and all of our previous ones. There you're going to find tons of the pictures of all the things that we talked about,
Yep.
links to articles, all the other cool
All
stuff.
the other fun stuff.
We've placed a link for each episode board right in the show notes. So just go to RepcoLite.com and click the Color Me Home link on the homepage. You'll be able to figure out the rest from there. It's that easy.
Absolutely. And while you're there, don't forget to be sure to subscribe to our podcast via RSS feed or now on iTunes. Subscribe today and you'll never miss another episode. Until next time, thanks for listening.
You've been listening to Color Me Home, brought to you by RepcoLite Paints. Everything discussed in this episode can be found in our show notes at RepcoLite.com. Just click the Color Me Home tab on the home page. If you have any comments, questions, or feedback, you can contact Betsy and Dan by email. The address is colormehome@repcolite.com. That's colormehome@repcolite.com.